Hi boys and girls, welcome to Everyday Math Lesson 8.7, Fraction Number Stories. The materials that you'll need today, notebook paper, pencil, math journal, your template, and then home link 8.7. If you don't have that home link, that's okay, then you can answer the questions in either your whiteboard or in a notebook. Let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is go over our math boxes from the previous lesson. So if you can open up your math journal to page 205. If you're noticing that you have any mistakes, please fix those with your pencil and eraser. So for our first question, fill in the missing numbers. So they gave us 992. I know one more is 993. Then they gave us 1003. I know 10 more would be 1013. Then I know one less would be 1012. For question number 2, there are 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, and 52 weeks in a year. For question 3, the value of 3 is 300, the value of 6 is 60, and the value of 8 is 8. For question 4, draw hats on 1/3 of the smiley faces. Your hats maybe look different than mine, and that's okay. You also could have picked different smiley faces as long as you have 3 of them. For question 5, fill in the circle next to the best answer. So a school bus would be about 18 meters long. 180 centimeters and 18 inches, those two would be too short, and 180 meters, that would be too long. For question number 6, we can see that there's 11 squares for 11 square centimeters. So double check to make sure you have your page correct before moving on to the next part of the lesson. For the next part of the lesson, please use either notebook paper or a whiteboard to write down your answers from the next slides. If the speed is too fast, pause as often as needed. For our first question, it's asking us, and I'm going to put a screen up covering number 2, but it's asking us to draw 16 pennies and then circle half of the pennies. Now you can either draw them on yours, and you maybe just want to do quick dots or circles, but tell me how many pennies are in half of the pile. Press pause and play when you're ready to check. So looking at number 1, I circled half of the pennies, and I can see that there are 8 pennies in half of the pile. Let's try another problem like that. For this next one, can you draw 16 pennies again? And notice how I drew them a little bit different because I wanted to divide them into groups of 4. So how many pennies are in 1/4 of the pile and how many are in 3/4 of the pile? Press pause to answer and then play when you're ready to check. All right, so for this one, when I was looking at 1/4, and I'm going to show you my whole screen. When I'm looking at 1/4, I can see that that's just one of those columns, so that would be 4 pennies. When I'm looking at 3/4, I need to add 1, 2, 3 columns. So it's like I'm adding 4 3 different times. So my total would be 12 pennies. Think of a game that you like to play. Would you rather play it for half an hour or 1/3 of an hour, assuming that you would want to play it for the longer amount of time? Think about it and then press play when you're ready to check. So you would want to play that game for a half an hour because half an hour would be longer than 1/3. You can think about that hour being split in half, which would be 30 minutes, or if it was split in third, that would only be 20 minutes. For our next question, we have 5 birds were in a tree. One flew away. What fraction of the birds flew away? And then tell me what fraction of the birds stayed. Press pause and play when you're ready to check. So I know that 1/5 flew away, 1 out of 5, and I know that 4/5 or 4 out of the 5 stayed. We'll try one more problem. There are 10 children on the bus, and 10 children is half of the people on the bus. So how many total people are on the bus? Press pause and play when you're ready to check. So if 10 is half, I need to think 10 plus 10, and so there would be 20 total people. All right, you can put your whiteboard or your notebook to the side. We're now going to talk about Home Link 8.7 before looking at our math boxes. HomeLink 8.7 looks like this, and there's a few stories for us to solve. So if we take a look at our stories looking at number 1, we have 7 children that are waiting for the school bus. 4 of them are girls. What fraction of the children are girls? Could you solve number 1? Press pause and then play when you're ready to check just number 1. All right, so we're talking about just number 1. So if I have 4 of them were girls out of a total of 7, I would have the fraction 4/7. Let's look at 2, 3, and 4 now. So question 2, there's 12 dogs that were in a park. 2 of them were Dalmatians. What fraction of the dogs were Dalmatians? Number 3, there are 15 cupcakes. 5 of the cupcakes are chocolate. What fraction of the cupcakes are chocolate? And then for number 4, there are 16 tulips in the garden. 1/4 of the tulips are red. How many tulips are red? Could you press pause and try solving problems 2, 3, and 4, and then press play when you're ready to check? All right, so looking at number 2, 12 dogs in the park, 2 of them were Dalmatians, so I would have 2 out of 12, or 2/12. You also could have put 1/6. For number 3, 15 cupcakes, 5 of them are chocolate, so I would have 5/15, 5 out of the total of 15. You also could have put 1/3 for that one. And then if there's 16 tulips in the garden and 1/4 of them are red, so I want to think about dividing the 16 into 4 equal groups. Well, I know if I have 4 equal groups, each of the groups would get 4. And if I have just one of those 4 groups, that would be 4 tulips that are red. For the last part of this page, I'll ask you to solve problems 5 and 6, which are addition, and then problems 7 and 8, which are subtraction. So press pause to solve and play when you're ready to check. All right, for question number 5, I have 23 plus 81. So I know that 3 plus 1 is 4, and I know that 8 plus 2 is 10, giving me my total of 104. For question 6, I have 7 plus 6, which I know is 13. Notice how I carried my 1 up top and I put my 3 below. Then I have 3 plus 1, which is 5, for a total of 53. Now I need to switch my thinking a little bit because I'm subtracting. So I have 42 minus 21. I know that 2 minus 1 is 1, and 4 minus 2 is 2, for a total of 21. And then for our last, number 8, I needed to do some regrouping. So I have 8 minus 9, which I can't do, so I needed to go next door. I changed my 7 to a 6, and my 8 now becomes an 18. Now I can do 18 minus 9, which is 9, and then 6 minus 3, which is also 9. I'm sorry, 6 minus 3, which is 3. For a moment I was adding, so I have a total of 39. So double check to make sure you have your page correct before moving on to math boxes. Our math box page is page 207. I'll talk about the directions and I'll ask that you complete this page on your own. When you're all done, take a picture and add that picture to Seesaw for your classroom teacher. We will go over this page in our next video. So for our first question, what was the most frequent number of baskets made, or the mode? For question 2, what fraction of the dots is circled? Circle the best answer. For question 3, fill in the missing dot, so thinking you're doubling whenever you see one of those solid lines, and then you're subtracting 5 whenever you see a dashed line. For question 4, complete the diagram, then write a number model. For question 5, so you're going to draw a line segment that's 6 centimeters long. Then you're going to divide that line segment into 3 equal parts and tell me how many centimeters would one part be. And then for question 6, measure each side to the nearest centimeter and then add those sides up to figure out the perimeter. All right, I'll see you next time.